Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another exciting Propagandacast from your host, Imperial Dane, Master Propaganda Hero Strike, Defender of the Fatherland. We're off here to a exciting 1 vs 1 on Langara Sky between the north. We got here Tiramisu, number 2 by the way with the Americans on the leaderboards, fighting here for America, freedom and democracy with the 3rd Armored Division versus the south. Angreifen here, rank 24 with the Oberkommando West. Fighting for Germany, Deutschland, the 1st SS Panzerdivision, Leitstandarte here with Fortification doctrine immediately chosen. Volkskunde is Kuhlberg's here arriving form as he's aggressively sets up to secure the house in the west, and Volkskunde is moving up the east side there. Tiramisu with the double rifle start, no doctrine chosen. They does have armor company, mechanized and heavy cavalry, all very meta with triple infantry versus only double infantry for Angreifen with a single lightest infantry should bulletin. Both players setting up, wiring off the entrance to sort of tactically vital houses. They're basically preventing their opponents from getting access to them. The note Angreifen's is a bit more, I actually think less efficient. That one sort of works more as a trap, whereas this one actually blocked. I mean, you just need a single strip of wire to block it, whereas that one technically could still allow them to get in there. So Angreifen has been a bit off the game for some time. He clearly has not caught up with that one. But he's been playing a lot lately, it seems, so we'll have to see how long before that. But taking the fuel point, now wrapping up to connect the point there, that's probably a capping one you can do there from North Flank with aircraft, munitions, and then fuel. More rapid approaching here to engage the Volkskunde. There we go. Angreifen realises this is apparently doesn't quite realise it. He can't quite decide what he wants to do there. Sticks around for a bit longer. The problem is the longer he sticks around, the more the likelihood is then losing the Volkskunde and retreat. So bit of a risky setup here by Angreifen, but in theory can tie up a lot of manpower. I mean, basically he's tying up currently 560 manpower. Well, that's a lot more, but with only 250 manpower. That's kind of good, but obviously again the Volkskunde are bleeding out, so they can't maintain this kind of thing for long. Meanwhile, Sturmpanzer securing territory. Rather think you should actually move the Sturmpanzer rather than Kuhlmann, because the Kuhlmann can more fast and swiftly secure territory compared to the Sturmpioneers. They do have the Kuhlwagen has a capping bonus, whereas the Sturmpioneers and Volkskunde does not enjoy that. Second Volkskunde squad out there for Angreifen. Kuhlwagen pressuring here, Tiramisu, and the 3rd Armored Division. Wrapping up close and engage the Kuhlwagen up there, firing the M1 Garance most angrily and violently at the Kuhlwagen. Goddamn Krauts in there, Kraut cars. I think that's a Kuhlwagen, Sergeant. Shut up, it's a Kraut car. Anyways, Kuhlwagen getting rifle, got Volkswagen supporting that, suddenly quickly changes the face of the rifleman, falls in the back there. As they cannot contest that much firepower from Angreifen, who's going straight for the 3rd Volkskunde squad there. Kuhlwagen secure on the centre victory point, western one secured by Angreifen as well. The Sturmpioneer is now first going for the fuel point. That does mean Tiramisu has the potential for getting a fuel lead over Angreifen for a brief while here. Now it's his time to occupy German infantry. They're using the house. That squad by needs to retreat. That's down to just one poor sort named Ludwig, the former shoemaker's apprentice from Baden-Baden. Followed the attack from Martin, attacking from the rear, need to retreat there. Back here, troops setting out. Ports in the west have been secured as well. And we got an immediate take up here for Tiramisu. Going to push hard against the Oberkommando West. This is certainly one of the ways of doing it. Just push Lieutenant into, say, an anti-aircraft traffic on M20. And that way try to just pressure your opponent off the field. Make it a lot harder for them to just go for the mechanized regiment and what lies therein, that is the Lux. Which again is very much sort of the common Oberkommando West metagame at the moment. That's the state of the balance video, which will also be going up right about now, should also state. Otherwise I need to have a very serious talk about myself about that. Bloody unprofessional. Anyways, first there's a rifleman. Rifleman self-creation thinking about the centre, got March was up here. Tiramisu, probably already worried about 9, so possibly of course once cut off the wire. I mean again, as you can note there, it traps units side there if they sort of hit a certain point in numbers, but it doesn't activate entry. Again, that's what this strip just does. I mean, a strip right in front of the door blocks entry, whereas if you wedge it, you trap units there potentially. So that's sort of how I can work out there. More troops arriving here. Angreifen launching a huge assault there. He's going to try and punish here Tiramisu for not paying attention, not scouting ahead, not realising that the wedge of doom was there. My God. We was taught this at the academy, the wedge. It's one of the most devastating German tactics. The wedge of wire. No man has ever been able to overcome it. Can't we just jump out the window? No, we can't. There's like glue or something. Anyways, full wipe there. The wedge proves once more its lethality, proving once more the cruelty of the German mind. Anyways, bring up for the fuel point, the M20 all the way there for Tiramisu. But a good point they're hitting up there. At the same time, he's making a big push straight up for the center there. Volksgun is advancing, their boots thumping on the dirt. 1, 2, 3, 4. It's 4, Ludwig. It's 4. Oh, you know, I thought it was a number associations game. How do you even get there? Never mind. Just lay down some sandbags and shoot any Americans you see. Not necessarily in that order. Folks are there being swarmed by Lieutenant Chen, so that draws away attention from the center. He's just laying down a lot of sandbags. He's basically digging in around the car form there with a great wall of sandbags. That's actually a pretty novel tactic, actually. I think that's the first time I've seen any player do this. That's pretty interesting, actually. Battle Group Headquarters got for Angreifen, so it's actually not going to rush for the looks there versus his opponent. He does have a lot of infantry, so a Battle Group Headquarters to support that does make sense for Angreifen. They've got 2 squads there holding up. Denying Tiramisu precious access to the eastern side of the map there. But of course, there's still an M20 utility car on the loose. Like a troll in the dungeon. Something like that. Rather than firing away, folks, you're going to attack straight into the Volksgun. They're actually firing at the M20 and allowing the Raven to get closer. He needs to switch the priorities of the Volksgun. If it doesn't, the M20 serves excellently as bait. The Angreifen realizes it's too late what's going on and has to force him out there. Suddenly, the entire situation swiftly changes around. In theory, you could also just move up in front of it, lay down a smoke screen using the M20 that might have brought in with Panzerfaust range, and that way allow the rifle to close in. But in this case, using it as bait worked out perfectly because apparently Angreifen wasn't paying 100% attention. We do have mines there though from Angreifen. Das ist gut. Raketen have arriving there. We also got a Panzerschreck. You rarely see Panzerschrecks from the Oberkommando. As most players go for mine sweepers, but in this case, Angreifen is very much focused on sort of trying to deal with the enemy vehicle, the M20, and thusly wants the Raketen Panzerbüchse. Which then they pushed out in the open, taking heavy damage from the Germans. Volksgrenadiere, Sturmpioniere, and the Kuban there, mine spotted. That's going to be the munitions waste there for Angreifen. These defused by Tiramisu and the 3rd Armoured. Quick hit of the M20 by the Panzerschreck, the Sturmpanies advance and then quickly unadvance rapidly in a different direction. Got the M20 there moving ahead again. Not repaired. He's clearly not too afraid of anything. He doesn't have to disable his M20. In the centre, we've got recently pushed back there by German troops on the west side. We've got the single squad pushing up. They're going to hit his fuel point as Angreifen's attention is focused heavily on the centre. But definitely a sort of a nice, aggressive, swift match on Langrosquare that doesn't get too focused in the centre here. That is very good to see. Certainly rather lovely how Langrosquare should be played. And the tank rifle goes straight for the Kugelwagen and knocks it out. More folks coming up, they're pressuring them back. Over here at the base, we got medics on the way there for Angreifen to support his Truppen. 50 cavalry covering the car for now, making use of Angreifen sandbags, hitting the field. Oh, and victory point east as well. Good work again. You might notice Angreifen just overcommit at 1 points. You know, he sort of switches points here and there, and sort of always tries to spread out. He sort of makes a breakthrough that way, hitting the vital points and denying Tiramisu some more resources. In this regard, Angreifen actually building up, I think, a sizable fuel lead versus Tiramisu, which is pretty good for Angreifen and the German army. The 1st SS, Leibstandarte, so named because, well, it was initially his bodyguard unit, well, one of many bodyguard units that throughout the war be mobilized into full military units. That's a fun fact. Would be part of the 1st SS Panzer Corps as well as a fixture there. Fun side note. Hitting the point there in the west, forces there with assault rifles in the way. It would also, around 1943, provide a cadre of its best officers and men to form up the 12th SS Panzer Division, Hitlerjugend. That's a fun side note there. That was sort of the common deal when the Germans sort of provide, you know, throughout the war, create a new division that used to sort of grab some experienced officers and NCOs and use them to form up the core of a new division, lastly ensuring that, you know, there wouldn't be creating a division of complete, you know, people who didn't know how to fight a war. So that's a little fun note there. Though they rather had to replace those and some other losses, and at that point received a sizable number of Luftwaffe recruits who did not, by the way, want to join the Waffen-SS. Not at that point in the war anyways. As the Waffen-SS at that point had rather gun reputation of being a bit of a bunch of, you know, not jobs. And also they quickly find himself surrounded, cut off. Risky move they're going for the car for in this case with no exit plan. In this case also just a large chunk of Tiramisu's force there. Could be a nasty wipe there versus Angreifen, but no, it looks like plans are fast and he gets away. Otto gets away. The also got light gun at the end. Angreifen, he should probably consider taking a hit there for Schwer Panzer quarters and pushing out some panzers versus Tiramisu. Artillery almost landed there, but almost doesn't count in war. So M20 they're rolling back, laying down, carrying fire for the retreating rifle squad. We got another squad, they're doing as best as can. We got Planhan gun out off the S. Angreifen makes another big push for the car point. But there you go, we got a counter flank here by Tiramisu, immediately hitting the Raketenwerfer there. A cap moving up through the center there, so Tiramisu not going straight for the maker. Will try to make a Schwer Panzer quarters and Panzer push there, and more viable for Angreifen versus Tiramisu. I mean, it looks like we got might be happening there for Angreifen and the first SS. We got Portland secure being reactions with bazookas on them, by the way. As you upgrade the lieutenant with double BARs, he is not. And we got heavy cavalry and we got Rangers. Hello. Rangers there to lead the way. Large force with the detachment there being swiftly dispatched westwards to the third fuel point. Tiramisu meanwhile just pushing it as aggressively can, trying to, you know, turn the tables on Angreifen and the first SS. Schwer Panzer corps likely going set up to cover the car front and the munitions. They need to be careful not to push it too far ahead and then let it disrupt it. There you go, coming to fire from the lieutenant. Fult's going to deal it, swiftly attacking in the west. Sending in a lot of back and forth here. Initially Angreifen will lead, now he's the one back in the small compartment on the map. As Tiramisu launches now ruthless assaults. 50 cover they need to set up soon enough. Riflemen in there, steel pines under fire. Need to be careful, they otherwise he risks losing them, which would be pretty bad. Forces are suppressed. And there goes Sturmpioniere, pushed away down to half size. Half tick force fall back. Need to get some troops over from the west towards the east to the centre here to support. Otherwise he might risk losing the overall engagement. But no, he focused on grabbing the points, which I think is a mistake there. You just focus on concentrating. They can destroy Tiramisu and then secure the territories rather than vice versa, which means his forces are overall scattered and will easily dealt with by Tiramisu, which is definitely not what Angreifen should be aiming for at the moment. There you go, Rangers moving up. Thompson's on the way there. The Chicago Typewriter as is known, or as it is not known, the Florida Garden Hose. Troops are reinforcing, at least I hope it's not. MD-34 they're arriving for Angreifen to probably try and deal with all of Tiramisu's increasingly aggressive infantry. That way set up some more safer areas there to sort of deal with Tiramisu's troops in. Tiramisu also flying with an anti-tank gun. Angreifen not able to take up right away. The pressure they just being exerted on him by Tiramisu is preventing him from doing that. Plus coming off the fuel point will allow Tiramisu to get back into the fight there. Rush ahead once more and maybe, you know, push for some medium armor, or possibly because of the way he's playing, he could be aiming for a Pershing, which is a bit risky, could certainly give Angreifen more time to bring up sufficient equipment to that way hurt Tiramisu. So I'm not a huge fan of that one. Again, I'm never a huge fan when a player goes Führer Syndrome. Up north there, point secured. We got the anti-tank gun out there for Tiramisu and the 3rd Armored Division Raketenwerfer MD-34 moving eastwards. Even as he's under pressure in the west, he will still try to exert pressure on his opponent in the east. We got mines down there, we got smoke screen up probably from the M20, which also works for the Sturmpanzer. He actually laid down a mine here without his opponent able to see there the attacks. So that kind of works out there in Angreifen's favour as well. I suspect that's why he immediately laid down a mine, because his opponent couldn't see it. He needs to get away from it before he risks, you know, having it set off and his own men hurt. But there you go, push up the east, MD-44 sitting up there. So that's actually sort of not a bad idea there, punishing Tiramisu for just exerting too much. And even the house unguarded, they need to grab territory and get the fuel point, at least cut it off from Tiramisu's influence. So, again, in a matter of moments, the entire battlefield has once more shifted into the favour of the German attackers as they try to overthrow the defences of the 3rd Armoured Division. And there go MD-34 joining in there, 800 rounds per minute, or I think actually 900 rounds per minute, opening up there in the Americans. A nice solid machine gun nest there. We've got the M20 moving up east. We've got the Kevin from nearby which can support. Schwer Panzer Corps also finally going up. They can actually sort of reasonably soon go for a Panzer IV versus Tiramisu. One-hand gun out of there would be pretty good. M20 there attacking in. Apparently wasn't aware of it. I'm not entirely sure what happened there. M20 crushing the wire, but also the entire facade on the east side. But there you go. That kind of landing a good hit on the M20. Smoke screen down. Push into the center of the Rangers for echelons. More assault rifles counter into the rest of the captain's stance. And Schwer punch quarters. Right about down there for Angreifen in the 1st SS. Troops running in the back for healing reinforcement. Continue to pressure up the east side there. Overall again, nice push into the east overall there by Angreifen. Very, I think, tactically solid. 24 minutes. Oh, he got the M20 actually. I thought he did not. Could have been a misclick there. Could have been a pathing error. Could have been luck. I'm not entirely sure what happened there actually. Didn't see it, but the M20 actually went down. I thought because it have a bazooka. Look at me. I'm Bazooka Bernhard. Shut up, Bernhard, or we hit you. This is really dried up Knackwurst. Anyway, no, Knockwurst. Anyway, Sturmpanzer heading out there. Volksgruppe moving eastwards to sort of deal with the Rangers there. And hitting the field point like Kennedy. There you go, got grenades off. Doesn't do too much damage as it is easily dodged by the Volksgruppe. Angreifen in control. He's also getting very close to the Panzer IV now. He is getting extremely close. And Tiramisu is not getting in close to the Pershing. So again, the Pershing move here overall feels like a great mistake there by Tiramisu. And this could bring up a lot of anti-tank weapons. And Angreifen somehow failed to deal with them in a sensible manner. Or Tiramisu turns out to be a god with anti-tank guns. I mean, that is a potential. You know, medium armor I think would just serve better overall. Range up close with the Volksgrenadiers. Finding the Thompsons are nothing compared to good German Sturmgewehrs. Oh, ambulance I think got a bit too close to hit there. Volks trying to flank in, but in this case halted here by stoic defense by Tiramisu. The sandbags who laid down their previous Angreifen are now turned against him. A lot of back and forth here, a lot of flanking, outmaneuvering, and counter-maneuvering. I like that. I like that stuff. That's overall pretty interesting. Panzers on the way there for Angreifen. I mean, tactically, both players, I say, pretty deft there. Strategically, though, Angreifen so far seems to be slightly ahead there of Tiramisu. Again, I think he is getting a bit too fixated there on the Pershing. I mean, there's still going to be 3 command points for that. I mean, in theory, Angreifen then can secure a lot of fuel before he gets that out, and he could even possibly, bring up a Jagdpanzer or a Panther. Panther would be the best choice there. One thing to note though, Angreifen, when he has gone for fortifications, he's not used the doctrine in any way. There's been no S-mines, no bunkers, no trenches, flanking emplacements, tank traps, packs, howitzers. There's been absolutely nothing from the doctrine. It seems a bit weird, to be honest. It certainly indicates he might have mischosen a doctrine there, or he needs to consider how he uses fortifications. I mean, the thing is, though, Angreifen is actually pretty good when it comes to using S-mines. He loves using S-mines, so I'm guessing he might be feeling a bit rusty there. It's not, I'm not entirely sure what it is there, but he would benefit a lot from S-mines, though. He would benefit a lot. By the way, we got the Panzerkampfwagen 4 Ausführung J out here for Angreifen, the last model of the Panzer IV. So service from late 1944. Well, actually, I think he saw a bit of service in Normandy until the end of the war. It was a simplified model, which also lacked generated for the turret because of lack of resources. So it shouldn't actually be turning its turret this fast. It initially didn't actually in the game, but people didn't like that, so they had to sort of fix that. But basically, it actually had a really slow turret rotation because of the hand crank. They didn't have the resources of the generator anymore, sort of motor to support that. But overall, it was actually easy to produce, faster to produce, allowing them to produce a lot more Panzer IVs there in sort of the last months of the war. Little fun fact there. It also actually had a better, bigger fuel tank for longer range than the Panzer IV. At that point, it didn't particularly matter since they didn't have that much fuel anymore for the Panzers. That one would have been a lot more helpful for them in the early stages of the war. But there you go, Panzerkampfwagen 4, a workhorse of the Panzerwaffe. Good on him flanking up. No grenades though for Tiramisu here. No grenades. Count Grenade. He's going for the mechanized regiment. Is he going for a King Tiger now? I mean, he could, but it seems a bit... I'm not entirely sure about that one by Angreifen, which suggests at least one more Panzer before aiming for it. So the mechanized regiment at this point seems a bit... too too early, but we'll have to see if Angreifen can pull it off. He could also go for some Obersoldaten, but I do think he needs to exert more pressure on his opponent's fuel point. There again, he has already been able to flank in again. He's not like a lot of players who tend to play Angreifen, getting completely sucked into the centre, though. After sort of been more highlighting, hey, this is how you play Langorskaya, I am seeing more players actually playing Langorskaya like you're supposed to play Langorskaya, so, that's, bloody amazing. Kind of feels like, I'm actually achieving something. A bit like, after all the videos, say, hey, Ostwind's actually pretty good. More people actually using the Ostwind right. Obviously, I might be fooling myself, but, a man can dream. Or at least, claim credit, because this is the Propagandacast anyways. And that's what the Propagandacast does. Fire off propaganda. Anyways, Panzer IV, they're firing at the 50 cal over there. Grabbing the fuel point in east again. Good work there, Angreifen. Good work. Nice flanking there. So great to see. I mean, again, it's usually been the pattern for a southern player to get completely sort of boxed in here, but increasingly again, I'm seeing more players realizing, hey, I can actually move up the eastern side. I can harass my opponent. That's amazing. But there you go. Tiramisu there, finally going for the Pershing. Captain Bobby upgrade with double BARs. Not a bad idea there. Some players actually like to go for that, and obviously, again, a rank 2 American player certainly likes tossing BARs on his captain, because the captain with BARs is actually pretty good. Pan from west, we've got Rifle moving up here. Taking fire from the Panzerkampfwagen, supported by the Volkswagen with the bazooka, and Bazooka Bernhardt. So he's definitely delayed any sort of supporting armor there. I mean, he could rush out a Jagdpanzer, but a part of me, I think, would just prefer seeing the Panther, because a well-handled Panther is quite a manage to most of the enemy armoured vehicles. Plus, unlike the Jagdpanzer, can deal with infantry, if you know how to use it properly. Pershing are being pursued here by Volks with Panzerfaust and Panzerschreck. Panzer IV, they're hanging back. We can see here that Tiramisu is trying especially to not get caught up there, trying to stay a respectful distance from the German Panzerjägers there. Destroy them from a safe distance. I think that's definitely the best choice, in particular because Panzerschrecks do lose accuracy at range, so I mean, firing at maximums decreases the chance of the Panzerschreck actually hitting the Pershing. Almost got a wipe there. No, Joe there gets away. Democracy prevails, but there you go. Heavy 50 cal fire, they're holding up the foot. We've even got the Panzer IV support here, but over need to scatter the infantry a bit more. But now it's too late, and sadly the Oberkommandant does not access to smoke yet on the lightest Infanterie shots, otherwise you could have smoked the 50 cal machine gun. In the centre, we've got smoke screen going down against the MD-34 here by Tiramisu. Good work there, allows the rifle to secure the centre victory point against Angreifen and the German army. Lieutenant blitzing after the... No, he's just blitzing for the point there. And then realises, hang on, there's a Panzer. I think we tactically advance towards the base. Yeah. Do you mean retreat? No, tactical advance towards the base. Yeah. Still, Angreifen's maintained a pretty solid force there. Interesting enough, again, there's still nothing off the doctrine, though. Nothing at all. I mean, he doesn't really particularly need a Pack 43. Howitzers, though, could be useful. And S-mines could also do a lot then, sort of slowing down what Tiramisu wants to do. I mean, hell, he could hit the point and lay down S-mines from doing so. Anti-tank and coming at the centre, opening up the Schwerer Panzer quarters. Looks like he might try to destroy that. And meanwhile, Panzer IV then getting the 50 cal machine gun crew. And mine goes off, the holding a rough spot. We've got Volks charging after the anti-tank, but there's got so many Americans in the way there with the 50 cal joining as well there. Good work by Tiramisu bringing up more anti-infantry weapons, that way making it harder for Angreifen to use his volumes of Fullskangewehr. Who's in fact already lost one support. We got Captain rifling up the centre there again, sweeping away most of Angreifen supporting troops. Anti-tank there, wiped away as well. Panzer IV takes a hit from the Pershing, bazooka fire as well. Some hefty stuff going on. The Panzer Fast bazooka fire there on the Pershing. Sturm Pioneers wiped, big loss for Angreifen. Nice win there for Tiramisu. Angreifen's forces are bleeding out. Quite harsh there for him, in particular since, well, he doesn't have anybody else. But in theory, he does have an option for repair pioneers, are relatively cheap than, you know, getting a new pioneer squad. So, a good thing he went for it there, I suppose. Though, had he not, he could probably have been going for a Panther right about now. So, you know, there's argument for and against him. You see, though, Tiramisu is taking up there. That's good. That is good. So he's slightly being released of the Führer syndrome haze, realising he does need sanction down the road to support his Pershing versus those Germans. Very good there. Sehr good, as the Germans would say. Got the Indy 3rd Force up in the centre there. Moving westwards there with the Lieutenant. Panzer Force going to need some repairs. Wrecking the anti-tank gun. Moving up here in the centre with the Volksgrenadier. Pershing moving up. 12 kills. Veterans who won. Volksgrenadiers need to get out of there. Point blank versus Pershing is generally not where they have their best chances of survival. Quite the opposite. There you go, close being wiped out, Panzer being repaired. It could be forced to go for the Jagdpanzer again, thanks to the whole mechanised regiment and the sheer pressure the Pershing is setting on him, plus the loss of the infantry. I mean, otherwise I'd still recommend him trying to buy time for a Panther, but time might not increasingly be on his side. I mean, now his opponent's a lot more infantry, so he needs to do something to sort of change up the equation here versus Tiramisu. Losing a bit more ground here, fortifying west here was the Lieutenant. Jagdpanzer on the way there, or Panzer 470. Which does, as a fun fact, actually in the war have machine guns. In fact, the one without the high velocity gun actually had 2 machine guns mounted in the hull. But later versions only had 1 machine gun. An MG42 in fact though, much to my surprise, in the hull. Normally they'd actually use MG34s because, well, they had a low rate of fire. You generally don't want to have to shift your machine gun barrels out in a tank or tank destroyer during a fight. So generally a special version of the MG34 was utilised which had a thicker cooling shroud. But for the Jagdpanzer they actually went with an MG42 in the hull. I'm not entirely sure about that one. I don't think it was actually a modified one either, so hard to say what that one is about. Panzer will go straight for the Pershing supported by Kettenwerfer. Jagdpanzer, he's blitzing the Pershing though. I'm not entirely a huge fan of that. Needs to be careful going into the Pershing with his Panzer 4. I mean, see, there's the HVAC round which has to be worried about. No supporting infantry for all of this. Pretty risky there. Panzer 4 is not a good hit shot there on the move. Generally, you want the tanks to, you know, stop up to shoot, and there you go. Almost losing his Panzer 4 there into tank rifle. Let's quick off there, go damaging the end. You've got a Jagdpanzer coming up for the centre, straight for the. Oh dear. And again, now I'm out notice there's absolutely no support for the Panzer 4. So far it's more focused on trying to save the Pershing from the Jagdpanzer, but there's still the slight issue of the Panzer 4. Very slight issue. And there you go, Rifleman in after it. He's not moving up by any troops to support and cover its retreat there. And right, he's making a big mistake. He's actually moving towards here. He's trying to get it towards here. Obviously, we should be taking the safer path towards his own base, which does not get him closer to the infantry. Right here, Angreifen, because he's too busy trying to catch the Pershing, loses his Panzer 4. There you go, gets knocked out here. I think by the 5th Cavalry actually getting a lucky penetration. He got the Pershing, but here's the thing. I don't think Angreifen can actually afford a loss like the Panzer 4 right at that stage. I mean, he's always put up behind an infantry, and, you know, he needs to kill the opponent's infantry with his, you know, more aggressive manner, because he's always just down to Volksgrenadiers versus a lot of riflemen and other units with BARs that includes lieutenants and captains. That is not favoured for the Volksgrenadiers, in particular when they are this outnumbered, so I feel like the Panzer 4 there, losing it like that was a mistake. I'm not entirely sure to commit it that way to actually just trying to destroy the Pershing, because ultimately it's not a trade-off that's worth it. Not on this stage anyways. I mean, generally the Americans or any allied player can to an extent afford to trade off medium tanks, and particularly again for heavy armor for the Germans, but if you're the Germans, you generally want to be extremely careful about trading off your medium tanks, in particular again if you don't have enough infantry. Even if it's for an enemy heavy tank, you do not want to be trading off your medium armor. In particular, it's the upper command vessel, any medium armor is already quite expensive. So that was a pretty bad deal there for Angreifen in the first SS here versus Tiramisu. Pretty bad trade-off. In the centre, something laid down. We got the 5th Cavalry flanking quite nicely versus the Volksgrenadier. Likes his Montoya shots firing at the 5th caliber. Volks moving about here, attacking the Major. Being held up here, the 5th Cavalry is only proving quite helpful there for Tiramisu. making things very difficult for Angreifen. Again, the lack of a Panzer IV here really makes it difficult for Angreifen to really push anywhere versus Tiramisu. So again, that was not a good trade there for Angreifen. That was not a good trade. And Tiramisu is just moving straight here for the second Pershing. While certainly the Jagdpanzer can deal with it, I mean, it can't deal with the infantry will likely be supporting the Pershing, and his infantry will struggle in such an engagement. Basically, sort of, just to prove so, this little coney on the front of the Jagdpanzer is actually where the machine gun's supposed to stick out. They basically slide to the side, and then the MG42 would poke out there. Little fun fact. And on regular Jagdpanzers, I think there'd be another MG42 on the other side without the high velocity gun, but for whatever reasons they couldn't have it there. MG34 on the shed. Certainly provides some good map control there. But there you go, we can see the site called in here by Tiramisu on the shed. This is, Charlie over, I need artillery on a shed. A shed? A shed. It's filled with Nazis, krauts, and, wizards. I need it destroyed. And he's accelerating off against the Major there, as he heroically destroys the shed in the shower of artillery. Fun fact, the Germans generally knew how the Americans would generally react to any sort of initial threat with artillery, so they actually basically set up small positions to bait out the artillery from the Americans, causing them to waste shells on it. Another smoke from there against the MG4. Good work there, Barvins. There you go, second Pershing out here for Tiramisu. Angreifen again, really struggling without the Panzer IV. That really just sort of was the motor for any sort of late game offences, because again his fault's going to be just get shredded by 50 calibers and BAR up infantry. He's really having a hard time getting anywhere. So really the loss of the Panzer IV there is just dreadful. You'd like to have to go for another Panzer IV here. But even that might be a bit of a bad leave as the Pershing might be off trying to stop for the Panther, but that's going to take him a lot of time. So it's really sort of a precarious situation that Angreifen finds himself in versus Tiramisu. Again, he was doing well partly until this, but really I just think again that big moment, but really just flipped the game off from him, was just losing that Panzer. I mean, could still have a chance if Tiramisu makes some big mistakes, so Angreifen really pulls off some good moves, but that Panzer IV really stung. Another shot fired there, missed. Bazooka fired against the Jagdpanzer with bad. They had really thin side armour, and even thinner rear armour. We're talking somewhere between like 10 to 30 millimeters, which basically meant to make it lighter because with the high velocity gun, by the way, it was already heavily overloaded, in particular in the front. And they actually had issues. Like if you weren't careful, the gun could dip into the dirt and sort of clog up the barrel, and then trying to fire with that, the entire thing would blow up. Which wasn't good. There, good bit of mistake. He's trying to catch the Pershing, instead now gets hit with an anti-tank grenade there, damaging the Indian Jagdpanzer, pretty much denying its only advantage with the Pershing, which is range. Kind of like the Panther, but even more precariously balanced about needing to be at range against anything. But it actually has less penetration than the Panther, despite, you know, technically having the exact same gun. Fun fact. Of course, it then has more range than the Panthers, as opposed to that sort of barely to each other. Both, by the way, also had 80mm of sloped armour. The Ken with the Tranquil Fort, they're getting shredded in the west. Angreifen increasingly struggling there again. We got Lieutenant, we got a 50 cover there coming up as well. First SS has really lost steam here. Ken recruited here by a few plucky men from Tiramisu. And the third army. MG34 abandoned out in the open. We got Stump as a Lieutenant. Like to see in front, so it's getting very close to Veteran 4. And the captain here spearheading another attack there into the German held territories. Force there with a bazooka and a BAR. That certainly adds a bit more firepower to them. Quickly taking a few losses there from the captain, which again just has more BARs plus of Thompson, which pretty much means he just has the firepower advantage versus the infantry. In this case, the only thing that saves the focus gun is the incendiary grenade, and then he proceeds to move straight into it. That's less good. And he also needs to... Oh, there's a Persian. And it wipes the entire squad. Another big loss there for Angreifen. His forces are now dramatically bleeding out. I mean, he does have the orbital dome. I don't think he can quite, make up for the losses he keeps suffering and then his lack of armor. Tiramisu there can actually soon go for a Sherman tank to support his Pershing. Angreifen might be forced to go for the Panzer. Overall, I'm still surprised again. There's just been zero use of doctrine by Angreifen again. No S-mines. No bunkers, no trenches, no nothing. I mean, at some point, early in the game, for example, a bunker here could have, saved him a lot of, I think, effort versus harassment from Tiramisu, but it just never materialized from Angreifen. Persian going straight here for the west. Orbital done on the run. Ooh, that was close. Tiramisu there following up with a Sherman. Following up with a Sherman, the M4A3. Forces there, bravely pulling up on the flank of the Sherman of Pershing. Panzerfaust, but fails to penetrate actually. And they might just get wiped there by the Pershings not with their gun. Oh, got lucky they did not. And Angreifen going for a second Panzerfaust. At this stage he's going to find himself struggling heavily again versus an opponent with a lot of armor. I can easily destroy the Panzerfaust at this rate, plus infantry. So there's certainly quite a challenge with Angreifen, though overall it kind of looks like the G's also now far behind Tiramisu on victory points. Also on there reinforcing, getting close there to Veterancy 1. Panzer IV almost done. Almost done. Straight into here, MG34 suppresses and slowly murders. But there you go, army from the captain. Last lieutenant bravely pour on, and there you go, wipes the MG34 crew. Sherman Pershing taking to the centre. We got the Panzer almost done. We got folks with the Sturm Pioneers charging forwards. No punch here for the Sturm Pionier. Panzerfaust plenty going off. The Pershing failing to damage the engine, and we got the Panzer at the same time. Got a big push into the west, catching the opposite line there with BAR fighting a 50 caliber as well here. Angreifen is now basically being attacked from, well, pretty much every angle. We got a Ked coming in from the east. There's basically a full scale assault here by Tiramisu, still raining down the Schwer Punch quarter. Panzer 4 charges forward into the Pershing. Sherman here, troops retreating in the face of the Schwer Punch quarters, but will it be matter at this point? 65 points left, no victory points left in Angreifen command, so he's just going to have a full bleed. No HF rounds, at least munitions fought against the Pershing. Almost got the Fulters nearby as well. Almost got the Panzer IV though. Kedden effort, trying to still creep up. Sherman going in here, Pershing following up, despite with the damaged engine. A Kedden effort wipe, and gets the Panzer IV, but that I think it's safe to say GG here for Angreifen in the first SS. A brutal fight here with a lot of back and forth maneuvers, counter maneuvers, whatnot, smoke, artillery. Overall, a pretty tense fight here between two, high ranked players. Overall, again, the big moment though came in the Angreifen when he just traded away that Panzer IV in a really poor manner, did not support it, did not have an exit plan for it, which all just gave Tiramisu the advantage with that there again. It was pretty much the high watermark without the Panzer IV again. There was just no support for the Volkskanonisten for late game. Really need armor to be able to push anywhere when your opponent has a lot of 50 caliber machine guns and just heavily veteran infantry with a lot of BARs. There's just no way the Volkskanonisten could win against that. And slowly but surely Angreifen just lost more and more speed, was forced further onto the defensive, and that just crushed him. There's also a definite lack of, anything from his doctrine. That was really weird, to be honest. That was definitely something they can improve upon. But good aggression, good flanking. It's just that one Panther IV. And again, I still feel like he shouldn't have gone for this. He should have waited and gone for a Panther first. I think that would have been the much stronger and safer choice here versus Tiramisu. At least wait for the bloody Yak Panzer before going after Pershing with a Panzer IV. And maybe some more Obersoldaten earlier on. Tiramisu, I think, handled well there. I do feel like the Pershing again was a mistake. Then again, had Angreifen played a bit better, that could have been a GG moment if he just destroyed it without losing the Panzer IV. At that point, Tiramisu would have been defenseless versus Angreifen. So he should have probably teched up first and then, gone for a Pershing or something like that. But overall, pretty solid fight here, I think, between two, again, high-ranked players. Again, we're talking number 2 with the USF and number 24 with the Oberkommando vest. So there you go. Hope you enjoyed this match. Hope you learned something from it. If you did, subscribe to your friends, share it with everyone. If not, send a reply and some feedback in the comments section. And if you like what I do on a daily basis, do consider supporting either Patreon or PayPal. Links are in the video description. This is Imperial Dancing. Cheers. Thank you all for watching. Hope to see you all tomorrow for another shining episode. Bye.